Hi everybody, it's Miss Kelly. Welcome back. Thanks for joining us for Family Reading Nights again. Last time we were here, we left off with the two girls. They are teasing Wanda or asking her about all her questions about her dresses and about her hats, and they think she's exaggerating. She doesn't have anything else, only because she wears the same dress every day to school, and they notice that. So we are going to continue on to chapter 3. It is called A Bright Blue Day. I hope you enjoy this. Somehow Maddie could not buckle down to work. She sharpened her pencil, turning it around carefully in the little red sharpener, letting the shavings fall in the nice, neat heap on a piece of scrap paper and trying not to get any of the dust from the lead on her clean arithmetic paper. A slight frown puckered her forehead. In the first place, she didn't like being late to school. And in the second place, she kept thinking about Wanda. Somehow Wanda's desk, though empty, seemed to be the only thing she saw when she looked over to that side of the room. How had the 100 Dresses game begun in the first place, she asked herself. It was hard to remember the time when they hadn't played the game with Wanda. Hard to think all the way back from now when the 100 Dresses was like the daily dozen to them. Then everything seemed much nicer. Oh yes, she remembered. It had begun the day when Cecile first wore her new red dress. Suddenly, the whole scene flashed swiftly and vividly before Maddie's eyes. It was a bright blue day in September. No, it must have been October, because when she and Peggy were coming to school, arms around each other and singing, Peggy had said, "You know what? This must be the kind of day they mean when they say October's bright blue weather." Maddie remembered that because afterwards it didn't seem like a bright blue weather anymore, although the weather had not changed in the slightest. As they turned from shady Oliver Street into Maple, they both blinked. From the morning sun shone straight into their eyes. Besides that, bright flashes of color came from a group of a half a dozen girls or more girls across the street. Their sweaters and jackets and dresses, blues and golds and reds, and one crimson one in particular, caught the sun's rays like bright pieces of glass. A crisp, fresh wind was blowing, swishing their skirts and blowing their hair in their eyes. The girls were all exclaiming and shouting, and each one was trying to talk louder than the other. Maddie and Peggy joined the group and was laughing and talking. "Hi, Peg! Hi, Maddie!" They all greeted warmly. "Look at Cecile!" What they were all exclaiming about was the dress that Cecile had on, a crimson dress with cap and socks to match. It was a bright new dress and very pretty. Everyone was admiring it, admiring Cecile. For long, slender Cecile was a toe dancer and wore fancy clothes more than any of them. And she had her black satin bag with her precious white satin ballet slippers slung over her shoulders. Today was the day for her dancing lesson. Maddie sat down on the granite curbside to tie her shoelaces. She listened happily to what they were saying. They all seemed especially jolly today, probably because it was such a bright day. Everything sparkled. Way down at the end of the street, the sun shimmered and turned into silver the blue water of the bay. Maddie picked up a piece of broken mirror and flashed a small circle of light edged with rainbow colors onto the houses, the trees, and the top of the telegraph pole. And it was then that Wanda had come along with her brother Jake. They didn't often come to school together. Jake had to go to school very early, but he helped Mr. Haney, the school janitor, with the furnace, or raking up dry leaves, or other odd jobs just before school opened. Today, he must be running late. Even Wanda looked pretty in the sunshine. Her pale blue dress looked like a piece of sky in the summer. And that old gray toboggan cap she wore, it must be something Jake had found, looked like jaunty. Maddie watched them absent-mindedly as she flashed her piece of broken mirror here and there. And only absent-mindedly she noticed Wanda stop short when she reached the crowd of laughing and shouting girls. "Come on," Maddie heard Jake say. "I gotta hurry. I gotta get the doors open and ring the doorbell." "You go the rest of the way," said Wanda. I want to stay here." Jake shrugged and went up Maple Street. Wanda slowly approached the group of girls. With each step forward before she put her foot down, she seemed so hesitant for a long, long time. She approached the group as a timid animal might, ready to run if anything alarmed. Even so, Wanda's mouth was twisted into the vaguest suggestion of a smile. She must feel happy too, because everyone must feel happy on such a day. As Wanda joined the outside fringe of girls, Maddie stood up and went over close to Peggy to get a good look at Cecile's new dress herself. She forgot about Wanda, and more girls kept coming, enlarging the group, and exclaiming about Cecile's new dress. "Isn't it lovely?" said one. "Yeah, I have a new blue dress, but it's not as pretty as that," said another. My mother just bought me a plaid one with Stuart plaids. I got a fancy new dress for dancing school. I'm gonna make my mother get me one just like Cecile's. And this is the picture of the group of girls all together. You can see it. They're all hanging there, all admiring her red dress. And I believe that's probably her brother right there walking away. Everyone was talking to everybody else. Nobody said anything to Wanda, but there she was, a part of the crowd. The girls closed in tighter circle around Cecile, still talking all at once and admiring her, and Wanda was somehow enveloped in the group. Nobody talked to Wanda, but nobody even thought about her being there either. Maybe, thought Maddie, remembering what had happened next. Maybe she figured all she had to do was say something and she'd be really one of the girls. And this would be an easy thing to do because all they were doing was talking about dresses. Maddie was standing next to Peggy. Wanda was standing next to Peggy on the other side. All of a sudden, Wanda impulsively touched Peggy's arm and said something. Her light blue eyes were shining and looked excited like the rest of the girls. "What?" asked Peggy, for Wanda had spoken very softly. Wanda hesitated a moment, and then she repeated her words firmly. I got 100 dresses home." "That's what I thought you said. 100 dresses? 100. Peggy's voice raised itself higher and higher. "Hey, kids!" she yelled. "This girl's got 100 dresses." Silence greeted, and the crowd, which had centered around Cecile, had her new finery now centered curiously around Wanda and Peggy. The girls eyed Wanda, first incredulously and then suspiciously. 100 dresses, they said. Nobody could have 100 dresses. "Well, I have, though." "Wanda has 100 dresses." "Well, where are they then?" In my closet." "Oh, you don't wear them to school." "No, just for parties." "Oh, you mean you don't have everyday dresses?" "No, I have all kinds of dresses." "Well, why don't you wear them to school?" For a moment, Wanda was silent. Her lips drew together, then she repeated as though it was her lesson learned at school. 100 of them, all lined up in my closet." "Oh, I see," said Peggy, talking to like a grown-up person. "The child has 100 dresses, but she wouldn't wear them to school. Perhaps she's worried of getting ink or chalk on them." With this, everybody fell to laughing and talking at once. Wanda looks at them, pursing her lips together, wrinkling her forehead up, and that gray toboggan hat slipped all the way down her brow. Suddenly, down the street, the school gong rang its first warning. "Oh, come on, hurry," said Maddie. "We're going to be late." "Goodbye, Wanda," said Peggy. "Your 100 dresses sound beautiful." More shouts of laughter greeted this, and off the girls ran, laughing and talking, forgetting Wanda had her 100 dresses. Forgetting until tomorrow and the next day and the next, when Peggy, seeing her coming to school, would remember and ask her about the 100 dresses. From now, Peggy seemed to think a day was lost if she had not had some fun with Wanda, winning the approving laughter of the girls. Yes, that was the way it all began, the game of 100 dresses. It all happened so suddenly and unexpectedly, with everybody falling right in, that even if you felt uncomfortable as Maddie had, there hasn't anything you could do about it. Maddie wagged her head up and down. Yes, she repeated herself, that was the way it began, the day, the bright blue day. And she wrapped up her shavings and went to the front of the room to empty them into the teacher's basket. All right, we're going to stop here. That was a long chapter. That was chapter 3. So what do you think? What do you think is going to happen? I'm wondering myself, why isn't Wanda in school and where does this fall into? So we'll see what happens in our next video chat. So I'm going to stop for now and we will continue with our next video. And next time I see you, come on and we'll continue with chapter 4. Have a good one. Bye-bye.